Nordhook.
I'm Katie Campbell.
I'm Catherine Billy.
And I teach at Eastleigh. And the title of our presentation is Learner Profile PBL. And the idea that we want to incorporate into Godfrey District is problem-based or project-based, but really problem-based learning. And we have two goals, two overall goals. The first one is to destroy the question that every student asks every teacher. Why do I have to know this? Why are we doing this? When am I ever going to use this? Get that question out of education, because there are sometimes that the only answer to that is, well, it's on a test later on. So we want to destroy that question. The second thing we want to do is we want to knock down walls, not literally, but knock down walls between schools in this district, between teachers, between classes, between different age groups, and between classmates. So we want collaboration throughout the entire district. So our idea on how to do this, and I should add, through skill-based instead of content-based, like Dave was talking about, not just memorizing pointless stuff, but what are the skills you're going to need to get a job in the real world? What's really important? So our idea is to have a process in Godfrey School District where we have a district-wide driving question, a driving problem that every age group, every student from 12th grade down to kindergarten is all addressing that same question. And it's a problem in the community. So it could be a problem that a business brings to us. It could be a problem that the government says is going on in this area. It could be a problem that the teachers notice or that the students see. Hopefully, eventually, it will be problems that the students see. And an example of this that we have is, how can Godfrey Lee be better stewards of the environment? That's a big question. How can we be better for the environment? That's a big problem. There's lots of different ways we can see those problems, whether it's we don't recycle very well in our schools, we produce tons of trash, whether it's Plaster Creek and the problems that we have there that are left around here. So we have lots of, within this district, we have lots of questions about the environment. So what we want to do is develop a system by which students in every grade level at their age level, so kindergartners are going to be doing it differently than seniors, but the same question, a process that they can examine that problem. So what do we know about learning? We know learning is a social process, so students should be working together. They shouldn't be sitting in rows separate from each other, because when you get in the real world, it doesn't matter what job you're doing, you have to rely on other people. And so if you don't have that skill, you're in trouble. So our profile here incorporates cooperative teams, brings in people from the community, and you build relationships with them. We do team building, and we have multi-age groups. So why don't we ever have juniors go in and work with 8th graders? Why is it always you're a junior, you're stuck in this room with people who are the same age as you? Well, you might have some knowledge you can share with an 8th grader. You might be able to inspire a kindergartner if you're a high school student. So why do we keep them separate? Secondly, we know that learning is based in novel experiences. People like new things. They don't want to do the same thing over and over. Break up the monotony of the teacher always coming up with everything and doing worksheets and none of that fun stuff. More field trips built in. Let the curriculum evolve according to the students' interests. So they have this question, but they can go in different directions. It's only limited by what they want to do. Bring in guest speakers. Thirdly, we know that content is important. I'm a history teacher. You can't throw out content completely. People do need to know some stuff. But how can that be incorporated into this? Well, each teacher is driving toward the same question. So what you're learning in the class, that background knowledge, and Catherine will expand on that later, is driving toward that. Field trips and speakers help add a different perspective to that content. When you have people come in who have real-life experience, they're going to explain a lot better than a teacher who's just talking about some weird idea out of a book. Fourth, we know that students and all of us need a safe environment, and we need to have a voice in school. Sometimes we take the voice away from people, and they don't feel safe to use their voice in school. So we have to really focus on kids working together and feeling safe working together. Adults and students working together and feeling safe with each other. So the mentor system, having 12th graders working with 5th graders and having someone that's pushing for them, not just a teacher or an adult, but someone who's older in the district. Having a homeroom. You have homerooms in younger grades and then we abandon them. And we lose something when we do that, because a homeroom can be a place where you feel like, okay, I can get everything straightened out. This is a place I know that's safe. I can be in here. And then finally, we know that in order to learn, you have to make mistakes. People cannot learn if they don't make mistakes. That's essential. So through this process, you get to try different ideas. Like, oh, well, what if we did this? What if we had a recycle program and we decided to have a compost pile? Oh, well, that won't work because of this reason, so we've got to try something different. So through the process, you test and retest. You have people coaching you, and then throughout the process, you're constantly evaluating, how are we doing as a team? How are we coming along? How am I doing? Am I contributing to this very well? And then you'll end with an authentic audience, which I'll talk about later. So that's kind of our big picture of what's going on. Catherine's going to zoom in a little bit and how that looks in the school.
How we might make all of the wonderful reasons why happen, okay? So this planning would begin, would continue throughout the entire school year. Curriculum, your curriculum, whatever you need to teach and whatever as a student you might expect to be exposed to would not be changed or only slightly in the respect that where it can be addressed toward whatever the driving question is, that is incorporated into whatever would be presented to you in any case. What you're learning is a skill that we hope that you will expand upon and share in a more personal, interactive way. Okay. The planning process we expect would take 3 months. Sorry. You're good. Would take 3 months. It would include some of the activities that you see here that would not only incorporate curriculum kinds of things, but team building kinds of things, so that you learn something about interacting with people not only your own age, like an 11th grader, but you can appreciate what you can do for or get from someone younger than you. Okay? My expectation is that would be hardest at the far ends of that spectrum. Okay. And then as we get closer to the third month, that's when you have given some thought to what part of the issue that we've all been direct or indirectly talking about, what part you have a particular interest in, who it is that you might want to be working with, and you would be able to particularly choose 2 people. And then the week just prior to when this would begin, your team, your class, your group would be established, and that would be determined by teachers, by staff people. Okay. The facilitator would be dependent on what part of this process that you want to be, working on. And then the week of, there is the week of when the homeroom happens, when what you do is not move from classroom to classroom to classroom anymore. You would stay in the room, like if you have signed up for whatever part of that is. You have a homeroom, yes, but then you come and you are here and you're working on whatever those parts are that you determine as a group, and you move through, and you're doing that all day. It's something you do all day. You're not doing math for an hour and language arts for an hour. You're incorporating all those things into whatever it is that you find of interest, and you have all day to do that.
So, basically, throughout the trimester, you have been, as teachers, all you're doing is incorporating whatever the driving question is, because we already know what that is. And for students, nothing really is going to change throughout the trimester, except for maybe homeroom, where you actually have like team building and something like that. So it's all front-loaded until the end of the trimester, when you have this week, where it's project-based, it's the creative sequence, and you're going to be in one room, but it's not, you're stuck in that room. So the first part of the sequence is the observation stage. So your group has been developed, you had a little bit of input on who you wanted to work with, but it's developed, and you learn as a group what your strengths and weaknesses are, and realizing, okay, we're really good at brainstorming, but maybe we're struggling at making decisions. So when it comes time for decision-making time, we might need to put some parameters on that. In the observation stage, you are introduced and you are told, or I guess for us it would be reintroduced to the driving question, because that's something that we've talked about all year. So you would be told, this is what you're going to solve. This is what we're going to fix as a district. You guys are going to brainstorm and develop that type of idea. Whenever you are done with that observation phase, you move on to investigations. And investigation is really investigation. You're going to research, you're going to talk to your mentors, you're going to have field trips and guest speakers. It's going to be Teachers pre-planned for you, students, it's gonna be a little bit student-led for you. So it's gonna have a mix of both, that way there's structure, but it's student-led. You would investigate and learn what you needed to learn to create an answer for this problem, whatever the driving question is. Once you have gotten as much information as you feel you need, you go into the incubation stage, which is brainstorming. So you're brainstorming, and the teacher is going to facilitate what strategy you're going to use. So it's not just going to be like, here's a Venn diagram, brainstorm this. It's going to be teacher-led. Your homeroom teacher is going to encourage you in a certain strategy. You will brainstorm, and then finally you're going to start figuring out what solutions are we going to start veering towards. You might have 200 ideas that you came up with and say, 100 of these kind of fit in this category and we can combine them together. These 50, we were just playing, it's too much, they're going to have to be on the side for maybe like 2 years from now. Then once you get your solution started, you're going to narrow it down to which one you want to present, and that's going to happen by the end of the week. This is a week-long thing, so it's going to move pretty quick. But by the end of the week, you will have something to present to an audience during the validation stage, which Justin's going to talk about.
Okay, so I mentioned to people that we have a kindergarten teacher and a 6th grade and an elementary teacher, and the male high school teacher made these. So we have what these represent here. An authentic audience at the very end is a validation stage. So everybody's come up with all these awesome ideas. Kindergartners have solutions for how we can be better in the environment. Seniors, 5th grade, 7th grade, everybody's got their solution. Well, now they're going to present those and see which of those solutions do more than just teachers like, do more than just their classmates like. So we bring in community members, people who live around here, and we pitch the ideas to them and see what do they think of that. We bring in governmental leaders, people who know policy and rules and all of that kind of stuff, and what do they think of that. We bring in parents, and we have them listen to the students that are in this district and share these ideas, and how can the parents play a role in this. And finally, we bring in business owners, and we see how can we work with business owners so that this school is not just like a building in the middle of nowhere, but we are tapping into all the different groups that are surrounding us and becoming more of a community school.
You have
And then,
4 more minutes.
okay, thank you very much. And then that authentic audience would then choose the solutions that they think are the most viable and put those into practice, and those would actually become reality. That's our
Yeah,
Yes,
questions.
please.
Perfect.
okay, so you guys said that you guys wanted to like increase the idea of us having like more field trips, you guys having more field
Yes.
trips. So do you think in a way that's gonna increase them learning or not? Because is it just gonna be like, oh, high school is about fun and games, or do you think it's gonna increase their visual learning? So like, where are you gonna go for the field trips?
I think like it's got to be meaningful, right? Like we wouldn't just go to Craig's
Somewhere
Cruisers, you know,
meaningful,
something
you
like,
know?
oh, the environment, we can trash this place. And we're not going to do that, but instead it's like waste. You know, that Wyoming has an awesome water treatment facility. We're one of the best. Wyoming was the first. Grand Rapids was the first city ever to add fluoride to their water. We have a really awesome history around here when it comes to that kind of stuff. So going into some of those places that are free, especially because it costs money to go to a lot of places, but take people into those areas, take them to businesses where they work on recycling or they're doing really cool things. There's a business over on 28th Street that sells like random materials left over from businesses, and they create art out of it. Take people into that and let them see some ideas that maybe people never thought of before. So I think if the learning is like on purpose, and we're taking you to field trips that are going to be like, oh, this ties directly into that question, then it'll mean a lot more than just like, oh, we're going to, you know, we're going to go do whatever.
Well, that would be the point. If we're going to take time off to go on a field trip, it's going to help us
Has to
out.
help.
Where we can say, hey, remember in September when we did that? Oh yeah, that helped me out. Now I'm going to call that person and ask them more questions about what I learned, just so that helps. So everything would be for a purpose. Cedar Point can happen at the end of the day.
Okay,
Or
I didn't know what.
Nope, that's good.
Going to
That is a
the
good question.
mechanics of how a roller coaster works. You're not just going to ride the roller coaster.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe do that if we and then for East Lee students, you know, you guys project-based learning, so a lot of this might sound familiar, but really, we haven't always done problem-based learning at school. And that's more of like where there's a real, like the economic school store, that was kind of a problem, that's a real thing that became. We don't always do that, we try to, but these are all bigger questions that are like, we're gonna have a real solution to something here. It's not just like, give a presentation on some topic, but we're solving something.
We have 2 minutes left. I want to make sure that sticky notes get put on the
Okay.
floors before you leave, and also if you leave, tear off the blue sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you are interested in the ideas that we were just sharing with you, we have copies of this. You're welcome to take a copy with you.